Hello, I'm Jishan Karbanda.
And I'm Ram Batu. Welcome to our podcast, Weekly Dose of High School, where we'll be guiding you through the life of a high school student while speaking to knowledgeable people in the industry.
Welcome to our 10th episode. Today we are here with Hrishikesh Joshi, an incoming sophomore at San José State University, where he'll be majoring in computer science. Now, folks, I have known Rishi through the Rishi Kumar for Congress internship, and I can say that Rishi is very smart and motivated when it comes to whatever he does. So in today's episode, folks, we're going to be listening to Rishi talk about his overall college experience at San Jose State University, which is a CSU located in the heart of Silicon Valley.
So, Rishi, would you like to introduce yourself?
I think Jishan did well enough. I don't need to introduce myself.
Is there anything you would like to add? Or,
Uh, no, not really.
all right then. Without further ado, let's begin.
All right, Rishi. So I generally like to ask all our guests about this question. So how's your overall college experience so far? Have you been enjoying it? How is the transition from high school to college?
So far it's been okay. I expected it to be better, but it's been a little boring. Um, the transition from high school to college was actually easy. Like, there's a lot less um time spent in class in college, and there's a lot more free time. Um, the 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 coursework isn't much more difficult. It's just there's a lot more self-studying, which wasn't there in high school.
Got it. So when you mentioned that you expected more, can you elaborate on that?
Well, I expected it would be easier to get into parties and stuff like that, but so far I haven't been able to find opportunities for that.
Got it.
So, Rishi, I know someone who applied their SAT score of 1460 to an Ivy League, but they didn't get accepted. But the friend who didn't submit a score got in. So, why do you think some Ivy Leagues work like this?
Uh, SAT scores and ACT scores aren't the only criteria for admission. They take a lot of other things into account, so that's probably why your one friend didn't get in.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we all know that San Jose State University is in Silicon Valley, and so it's highly assumed that San Jose State University provides good internship and research opportunities for their students. So do you think this is true, Rishi?
I haven't really looked into the research and internship stuff yet because I just finished my freshman year and I don't have like that much knowledge to apply. Uh, I I could maybe tell you guys later in the future if I
Got it. I know that like, a lot of college freshmen and high school seniors it also find very hard to find research and internship opportunities because there's not that many companies willing to hire these types of students who are not acquainted with the skills. And yeah, so do you think that in a couple of years you'll be able to acquire the necessary skills to get an internship?
Yeah, I think so.
Got it.
So, Rishi, in our previous episodes, we've asked college students whether they were forced to leave their dorms after sophomore year, and some have replied that some colleges do kick them out, while some of them allow them to stay. So, does your college allow you to stay in your dorm after sophomore year?
San Jose State does. I'm not staying in the dorm, but on based on their website, you're allowed to stay in the dorms after freshman year, but they discourage it. And most of the most of the people after freshman year live in the apartments nearby.
Thank you, Rishi.
So like you mentioned they discourage it. Is there a certain reason why they discourage it? Or is that just like a general college rule?
I don't think they have enough dorms for every person like every year to get a dorm. And freshman year is like the most important for getting acquainted to college, so that's why they give a lot of emphasis on freshmen living on campus. After that, I think people are like adjusted to college so they can live by themselves in apartments.
Hmm. How was your experience in living in the dorms? Did you live with a roommate or were you living by yourself?
I'm commuting from home, so I don't.
Oh yeah, okay, so you're local. So you never lived in the dorms even in your freshman year?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I know now like San Jose State University calculates like an impaction score, which allows them to base their admission based on that. So in that they factor in your GPA, your location, whether you're in the local Santa Clara County, and if any hooks you may have, like whether you're an underrepresented minority or your first generation student. Can you explain more about this for our audience and how that is used in deciding admission at San Jose State?
If you're applying from within Santa Clara County, they give your GPA like a 0.25 boost. So if you have a 4.5 GPA, you can get in. They consider it as a 4.75. For underrepresented minorities, at least CSUs and UCs, they don't hold that into consideration for admission. At least I don't think so. And then if you're a first generation student to college, I'm not really sure about that because yeah, I'm not really sure about that.
Okay. So like you mentioned, they give like a boost to your GPA. So like what's the average GPA that San Jose State's looking for in its applicants?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My GPA in high school was 4.2,
And is that like a weighted or unweighted?
weighted.
Okay, got it.
Okay, Rishi. So let's say I have a 3.8 GPA, but I've done a lot of extracurriculars and applied to a college that required a 4.0 GPA. Do you think I can still get into that university?
Yeah, you can still get in. If you're applying to a competitive major like computer science, it'll it'll be harder, but if you apply for an easier major like I don't know, art, it'll probably be easier.
Okay, thank you. I have another question, Rishi. So, how important do you think secondary legacies are? Like, would colleges take that into consideration that you're a secondary legacy?
Uh, Probably the private schools will take that into consideration more, like especially the Ivy Leagues. Public schools, I don't think they care that much.
Right, thank you.
Okay, so now we all know that San Jose State University is a CSU, which stands for California State Universities, and that admission to San Jose State doesn't require any essays, any mention of extracurriculars, any letter of recommendations, nor any SATs or ACT scores. So, like, how competitive do you think the applications at SJSU are, Hershey?
They're still pretty competitive. Um, uh, the admission rate at San Jose State is actually lower than some of the UCs, like Santa Cruz and Riverside and Merced. Um, the application is a lot easier though. Like you don't have to do, you really don't have to do that much besides enter your grades.
Hmm. You mentioned that the acceptance rate's lower for like some of the other UCs, like you mentioned Santa Cruz or Riverside. Do you think that's only for like competitive majors like CS, or is it in general lower?
Uh, they don't give the data for each specific major, but I assume it's probably lower for computer science.
Okay. And do you have like a rough estimate like the acceptance rate in general for San Jose State?
Uh, like 60% or 55, I don't know.
Okay, got it. And now I'm gonna ask you like a question that compares the CSUs and the UCs. So, how do you think the CSU universities, like you're currently attending San Jose State, how do you think that compares to some of the UCs like San Diego, Berkeley, LA?
It's a lot like less San Jose State is probably less competitive compared to the like UC Berkeley, UC San Diego.
Hmm. Obviously, you are not attending those universities, but like, how do you think the CS program is at San Jose State?
Compared to the programs at like Berkeley and LA.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, from what I've heard, the programs at LA and Berkeley, they're all taught in C++, and
Mhm.
then just coding classes at San Jose State are in Java. And from what I've heard, Java is like what colleges are moving to, and C++ was what was taught in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like even AP Computer Science A is like even taught in Java. So do you think is that one reason why colleges are moving towards Java, or do you think it's the other way around that APCSA is mimicking what colleges are want?
Um, I think the Java is becoming more popular as like a language which is used in companies. So that's why a lot of the universities are switching their curriculum to Java, and that's probably why APCS is also in Java.
Yeah, okay, so I don't want to like keep asking this. Isn't like Python getting more popular nowadays, or is that not the case?
Uh, my dad works at NVIDIA. He says Python is more of a more sought out language, but it's still pretty new, and there are more jobs available for Java coders than Python, so that's why it's still mostly Java.
Got it. Thank you.
So Rishi, do you think that having four letters of recommendations would boost your chances of getting to a top 20 college, or would college ignore your fourth one?
It depends on which colleges. Some colleges they have like a maximum number of rec letters they accept. Like Purdue, I'm pretty sure they only take 3.
But
Um,
Ivy Leagues, for example, I think they take three as well, right?
I didn't really apply to that many Ivy Leagues. I don't remember, but more rec letters wouldn't hurt if it's available, like the option.
But they could be ignored, right?
Yeah, they could be ignored too.
All right.
Okay, so a follow-up to that. Suppose a college asks for like 2 required recommendation letters and then maybe like 3 optional ones, so like 5 in total. What if the 2 required ones are phenomenal and the applicant submits like 2 additional ones which are average to mid? Do you think that would hurt an applicant or would that bear no effect?
If all of them have like a positive message about you, they won't hurt you. They'll probably help you.
Okay, but obviously, if you're applying to a top college, like they receive thousands or maybe like hundreds and thousands of recommendation letters. A midterm average recommendation letter won't like stand out to the admission officers. So in that case, would it hurt or would it still help?
Uh, it would still help. Uh, rec letters are only a part of the application. They look at like the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Got it. Okay. So like what have you been doing this summer to like relieve some stress and prepare for the upcoming school year?
uh, I've been like doing this online JavaScript class, and I've been doing the Rishi Kumar Fellowship with you, and
Mm-hmm.
then also been spending time with friends who've come back from college.
Got it. And also a side question, so like how competitive was your high school?
Uh, it wasn't that competitive. Um, I had a 4.2 GPA and I was like 20th ranked in
Mm,
like my class.
got it.
So I have another question for you. So how significant do you think the internship at Rishi Kumar Congress is? Like I know a lot of people have applied to there in the past couple of years. So do you think it holds like any value as of today?
Are you saying that like
Like
putting
when you
that?
apply to colleges, yeah,
Yeah,
my colleges, yes.
it'll definitely look good. They ask for like volunteering experiences, work experiences, internships as part of the stuff you can enter.
All right.
Okay, so Rishi, so you mentioned that your high school wasn't like that competitive. How many colleges did you apply in general? Did you apply to like couple or like the average 15 or 20?
I applied to like 13.
13. And was there like a specific reason why you chose San Jose State over any other except colleges that you had accepted into?
Uh, San Jose State was the best program, like best CS program I got into, so
Got,
that's why.
got it. All right.
Well, that's it for today for episode 10 of Weekly Dose of High School. I hope you guys enjoyed Rishi sharing his experience on his college applications and his campus life. Remember to tune in later this week for part 2 of this episode.
Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, or even YouTube. We're on all those platforms and we upload weekly episodes, so make sure you never miss an upload. Until then, take it easy, guys.